I'm very happy today to share something really out of the exception in the world of wines, which is a Petrus. A Petrus by itself is something like mythical. It's a domain in the wine world that makes everybody dream about the beauty of wine, not only Bordeaux, not only Pomerol, but the entire world wine. And Petrus is by essence the symbol of the achievement in Bordeaux, because when you are lucky enough to drink a bottle of Petrus, it's probably one of the best things that can happen to you. And today, I'm very happy to share a bottle that is almost 100 years old, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It is dated from the 20s, but I don't know exactly what age. So this is a bottle that we are going to open. This is the same bottle but with a label that is totally visible. This is an empty bottle. It's coming from exactly the same lot. So the label, the capsule is taken off, as you could see here. And what I can read on the label is Chateau Petrus, Grand Cru Pomerol, from probably a negociant whose name is Goethals Mortier, a house founded in 1872, so probably 50 years before this bottling, and in a location called Iclou, which happens to be at the northwest of Ghent. So here we are. So what I will propose is that I'll open the bottle and I'll come back. But before that, I just want to mention that the history of Petrus is, of course, a fascinating history. But one important date has been in 1925, when Madame Edmond Lubin started purchasing a portion of Petrus, and later on in the 40s purchased the entire domain. So this is probably somewhere before or after her acquisition. So I'm very overwhelmed by the fact that I'm gonna be drinking a Petrus, but also a Petrus that is 100 years old. So see you soon. Here we are with the wine that I just poured from the bottle. My impression upon pouring the wine was something really highly emotional. Highly emotional because I was not expecting such a color such a color of a liquid to go out of this 100 years more or less bottle. So my expectation were more around something that would look like a tawny port, light in color, a little bit caramel, brownish, faded. What else? So I was stunned to see juice, black red juice, come out of this 100 years bottle and be poured in the glass. An unbelievable piece of life. Really, truly, I'm very, very thrilled by what I saw. Now, the wine can be not good, but at this point, the experience with the first contact with what's included in the bottle content, which is, our first contact is with the outside, and then with the content, is an unbelievable experience. Now, the color is unbelievably red. I don't know if you could see it from on the screen, but it is red black. Red black. It looks more to me like a Cornas or a Côte Rôtie than a Bordeaux that would have 100 years. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the rim around is still reddish, not brown, light orange, but definitely more from a young wine that would have found a way of staying young forever, which every human being would love to. Now, the first nose is hydromel, is morel, a little bit of dried fruits like nuts, but much less than in other bottles that are that old, clearly. But it is a very powerful nose. The nose is really fantastic. And when I kind of give it a little bit more oxygen, because just say, hey, wake up. I mean, it's been sleeping like, I don't know how many, maybe 100 years. And when it wakes up, it's really exhales a lot of perfumes, a little bit of flower, rose, dried rose, the kind of dried rose that you can find in books, and a little bit of spices I'm finding now. Okay, now let's drink. The first touch with the wine, the first impression on the palate is silky velvet. It's an extraordinary touch in the palate that is really unbelievably soft, gentle, but powerful. A kind of combination of power, a lot of power, and a lot of silkiness. At the same time, there is still unbelievably some acidity in the wine. So if we look on the glass very carefully, the alcohol, for example, is totally integrated, and you could feel it, and the texture is almost oily, like glycerin. So it is unbelievably good. Now it's difficult to describe what I can feel in the mouth, but definitely I still find fruits, but more like kirsch. I find a little bit of chocolate, wild mushrooms, more like muggles, and a little bit of spice in the palate and in the mouth, and the ending is unbelievably long. Very beautiful wine. Now I'm very curious also to see how this wine is going to evolve during the next few hours. So I will come back. See you soon. We're back with Petrus of the 20s, and now I'm going to first taste the wine a couple of hours after opening the wine. As you could see now, the level is more or less at a high label level. The wine had a little bit more time to get in contact with the oxygen and get again acquainted with the outside world on our 21st century world. And so the color is, as always, very, very stunning. And I want to taste it with a duck magret that I have cooked with a sauce that is basically made with Porto, young Porto. But it's a reduction of Porto, so it's a concentration of the Porto taste, and I saw that you would need something very powerful as a dinner to be able to balance with the power of the Petrus. Now, I want to start by getting back to this wine 2 hours later. And what I can sense is that it's still the bouquet is still very powerful, and I would say that it's even more powerful than it was 2 hours ago. There is more coffee, mushrooms, figs, like dried figs. Even it's more balsamic in a way. It's absolutely wonderful. Now it's all the silkiness, more coffee, coffee that's been prepared with all the aromas and the fruits, the dark fruits, more cassis, more even jammed fruits. Now let's taste it with a piece of magret to see how this goes with the wine. It's just so good to create a debate between a wine and a meal, because the meal is a reduction of Porto, so it's a smooth, it's strong power. Here, facing this 21st century meal, we have a wine from 1 century ago that has the power, that has the silkiness, and both get so well together that everyone is making the other piece of the game even better. So it's absolutely a wonderful experience. Cheers and see you soon.